And I think she still has her Barbie collection somewhere.
She has an original in the box. You're a millionaire.
I've got enough money to last the rest of my life if I die today.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm retired and we're okay. And this salary here, you know.
Yeah, I'm only doing this.
I hear they double it after a week.
No, you heard wrong.
Well, 0 times.
You already have 4 people on Facebook. Great. Let's
Shabbat Shalom and welcome. It's wonderful to be together on this almost last Shabbat of the year. One more. But then Rosh Hashanah is on Sunday, so you don't get a lot between Friday and Sunday. I'm Rabbi Javier Carapan, and I am joined this evening by Leslie, Harris, Howard, Joel, and Warren. As always, a big thank you to our technical team and to the BOW committee for bringing us beyond our walls, and to our digital docents who are managing the streaming. As you can tell, we are using a different Siddur than our regular one. It's Mishkan Halev, which we didn't use last Friday because we were outdoors, but we're back to it, and we'll use it this Shabbat tomorrow evening for Slichot, and then all the way through Shabbat Shuvah. Please make sure that all your electronic devices are on silent. So we gather on this Shabbat of Elul together on page number 6. We join at the top of the page, Elul, an island in the year. Before we slip too quickly into the season of the soul, let there be a Sabbath of Sabbath for the heart. Before the music of creation's majesty, let there be a silent praise of existence. Before the feast of sanctioned words, let there be a poetry of solitude. Before we enter the palaces of prayer, let us find within ourselves a place of calm. Before we revel in the wondrous and sublime, let there be an honest inward gaze. Before the rites and ceremonies of awe, let there be quieter days, an island of attentiveness. As we gather on this Shabbat, we welcome Shabbat together, lighting the Shabbat candles. The blessing is on page number 10. Those of you joining us from home, if you have candles, go ahead and light them and join us on page 10.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Shabbat Shalom. We continue together on page 13 as we welcome Shabbat with Lechu Neranena.
Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Lechu neranena, lechu neranena, lechu neranena, Adonai. Naria, naria,
Letzur Ishaynu,
lekala bala betola. Naria, naria,
Izmirotani Adon, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Lechu Neranena, Adonai. Page number 21 in the middle of the page, we join together in Two Angels. This is a traditional Shabbat song based on Shalom Aleichem, Shalom Aleichem that we normally sing. And we have all the different verses, and they're all based on a Talmudic passage that says that angels accompanied us as we enter Shabbat and as we leave Shabbat. Two angels follow me home, chesed and gvura, kindness and judgment, love and discipline, may both dwell within me, gentleness and generosity that expand my soul, firmness and self-restraint that is strength to say no. On this day of Shalom, may I be Shalem, well-balanced and whole. Lecha Dodi is on page 22. We'll sing all the stanzas.
Vod Adonai alaik nigla Echad Odi Yai dai 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 Ikrat kala Yai dai 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 Benei Shabbat Nekabela
Page 26.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Vaed.
We continue together on page 29. In the middle of the page, holy is twilight, the realm of in-between. And so our sages taught, pray in the moments when light and darkness touch. We're all twilight people, beyond categories and labels. May the sacred in-between of this evening suspend our certainties, soften our judgment, widen our vision. Let it illumine our way to the God who transcends all boundaries and definitions. Blessed are you, God of all, who brings on the twilight.
אהבת עולם בית ישראל עמך ותור תורה ומצוות חוקים ומשפטים אותנו לימדת על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשוכבנו ובקומנו נשיח בחוקיך לדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו באורך ימינו
Page 32.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu,
Adonai
Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Be seated. Continue together, page 35. You shall love the ones who are close with all your heart, with all your spirits, and with all your strength. Remember these words, inscribe them on your heart. Love them when they struggle, when they sadden and disappoint you. Love them when they fail. See the good within them, even when they can't. Look at them and listen, even when it's hard. Be grateful for their guidance, even their reproof, when they save you from yourself. Love them when they give you joy, and love them when they don't. When you lie down, let go of anger. When you rise up at dawn, begin again. Praise them for the deeds at home. Speak of them in public with respect. Bind yourself to the ones you love with promises kept and vows fulfilled. Open to them the gates of your heart, the doorway of your soul, and let them know you. So you shall the ones you cherish feel your love, your presence, and your care. You know, this is interesting. Because I'm recovering, my voice is very low. I like me as a rabbi with a lower voice, but it's gonna go away as soon as I get better. But it's just, can you hear? I mean, it's very imposing.
It's got gravitas.
It has gravitas, which means I'm gonna miss it next week. But it's like, I like this. Hear, O people of Israel. I just had to say something. It's just like, I don't know where we are.
We could put you on a routine of cigars and whiskey. That would take care of that. Oh, we are reading on page.
We're reading on page
41.
41. It's correct. Excuse me. It's like I lost the concentration for a minute. Eternal, watch over my small domain of light and shadow. Those few people who share my love and all others upon this earth that sometimes shakes with thunder and reverberates with lightning, help us to live with fear and conquer rage, heal the hate that makes us kill and covers the ground with this Red Sea. that only you can part, so we may all walk through the wilderness to your realm of peace, where all men and women are one, and sing your blessed name.
מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נדר בקודש, נורא תהילות עושה פלא.
מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה לי ענו ואמרו,
אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד.
ונאמר, כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו. ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל.
We continue together in the middle of page 45. Peace comes with the sunset, cool breezes ease the heat of day. All things settle into stillness, gentle song of crickets, moonrise, and the silence of night. Give us shelter in your presence, bring peace to those who yearn for peace. Enfold us in your quiet, let our fears find rest in you. Service continues with Veshambu. It's on page 46.
ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם. בששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת וינפש.
Service continues on page 48. If you're able, please stand and join us.
אדוני שפתי תפתח ופי
יגיד תהילתך.
Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor ve'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekone Hakol, Vezocher Chastevot ve'imahot, Umevig Gula livnei bneihem, Leman Shemo be'ahava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Zrat Sarah, אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה מתים אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, מחיה מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ולמען אתה להחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We gather on this Shabbat, we offer a prayer for those in need of healing. You may have access to the Mishaberach through the e-news, and also you can follow the link in the comments. For those of you watching us on Facebook Live, you can type names. For us here in the sanctuary, we have an opportunity to say names out loud. We'll start here on the choir loft. Thank you. As we think of those in need of healing, on page 77, we join our voices in the Mishaberach. May the one who blessed our ancestors bring blessings of strength, compassion, and healing to those of us who struggle with the oppression of addiction, emotional distress, and mental suffering. Surround them with loving kindness, grace, companionship, and peace. It is now time for our Simcha moment. Again, for those of you watching from home, you can type your Simcha, and I'm going to try to read them. It could be birthday, anniversary, good news, and accomplishments of all of any kind. For those of us here in person, we have a Simcha mic. You can come up here, and there's an X. We want you to stand on the X. Do not touch the microphone, and tell us who you are and why you're here. You have competition today, I think.
Carol is our little Pied Piper.
I have a fairly long one tonight, so here goes. I just want to tell you, I'm Carol. And Monday, I started at 8 o'clock, and I delivered Rosh Hashanah baskets with Amy. And it was wonderful to have somebody running up to the houses for me. I can't tell you how much easier it made it, especially finding addresses. Some of the houses don't really want to tell you what their number is. Then I went to a small group that I'm leading in the Logan Room at the Johnson County Library. And then I actually went home only to get a phone call that my friend had COVID and would I please go and pick up a prescription for her. So I had an errand at the bank in that same shopping center, so I stopped at the bank thinking it would take maybe 15, 20 minutes. I was there a long time. And I went to the pharmacy, and the line was yay long, and I get to the front, and I don't know her birth date. So I had her address, I had her phone numbers, and then they said the prescription was not ready, but if I was willing to wait, it would take another 10 or 15 minutes. So I waited another half hour, and I went up. At this time, there was no line, but when I got up there, I had to pull out the address and the birth date. Birth date I didn't have, the address and the phone number all over again. And by the way, they did find that they had her credit card on file. The prescription was free, but she wanted some batteries too. So then I delivered that, and by that time, it was time for my board meeting, which we do on Zoom. This is my Hadassah board meeting. So I went to Jackie's house and I said, you're closer than home. Can I attend the board meeting with you? Well, first I said, could we go to the board meeting together? And then I realized I'd given her the wrong message. She knew it was on Zoom, but she heard what I said and she started to get ready to leave. And I said, no, we're doing it here. So we did the board meeting. And then I went home and I was exhausted. That was Monday. That was just the beginning of the week. Anyway, we are now getting ready to get into the Good Faith Network. Next week, we are trying to choose one more issue in addition to mental health and chronic homelessness. So we're continuing with mental health and chronic homelessness, but we want to develop another topic to take on. We're having a listening session on Tuesday, the 20th, with Jennifer Levinson, and that will be in the library around 6:30. There is another listening session with Scott Franklin, which will be on Thursday, also in the library around 6:30. Mine will come after the holidays, and that will be October 12th, which is a Wednesday, but we're not in the library. We're going to be in the bride's room, and we're trying to move it up so, well, I'm going to get here at 6, and everybody else will get here 6:30 to 8. You know, we don't want it to go too long. But we need at least 10 of you to come to each session so that we have a good representation. And I'm pleading with you to please let me know if you can come, because I've been so busy this week with these other things that I haven't had time to pursue the people on my list. So that's it.
My name is Peter, and I had the happy experience of listening to the KCUR FM driving over to Shul tonight, and I heard the advertisement for our High Holy Days, and I'm very grateful.
Okay, this week. Here we go. All right, I'm Elizabeth Lenz. This is Drew, Corbin, Alexander, and Alice. And we just got on contract with a house. We should close next month. All right, let's go sit down. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Emma Bowen. Mine's not nearly as big as anyone else's, I think, but I just figured out recently who's in my class for my confirmation this year, and it is me and 2 other people, and those 2 people happen to be my best friends. So one of them's Alice, and the other one is my good friend, Evie. So that was really cool.
Great class.
It's big. I'm Nina. I just moved to Kansas City area about a month and a half ago, and I have not had internet since I moved here, and I'm a teacher, and it's very hard. And today, a coworker gave me a hotspot, found one internet hotspot through a library in Independence. So I have internet, and I just got a pay raise. So those 2 things.
Well, I had one thing. I'm Howard, by the way, but now I have 2 because there are 3 deer right outside our window. 4. 5. Jeez, they multiply like bunnies out there. They are right out there. Anyhow, my Simcha moment came last Sunday when we had our first day of religious school. I was really excited. We had a full house. It was wonderful. It was an open house. Lots of kids, lots of parents, lots of bagels, lots of fruit. And we're going to do it all again this Sunday. Out there in TV land, if you've got a school-age child who's not in the religious school, show up on Sunday and we'll get them taken care of. We'll get them enrolled and in the right class. So that's it. And also, well, Aviva will talk about the next thing, so I'll go away now. And we'll look at the deer.
I'm Ron Zipper, and I continue to be very happy that I'm only 1 year younger than the official recognition of Israel as I celebrate number 73.
As I had started the tradition at the beginning of Elul, but I only did it once, so it's not a tradition until I do it again today and then next week, to share with all of you a poem by Robert Rachel Barenblatt from her book, Simi Elul Poems. And this one is for Elul the 21st, which is tonight. And this week is the week of the full moon. Have you seen the moon? It's very pretty, it's beautiful. So that means when you look at the moon and it's full, That's the middle of a Hebrew month, always. Which means there's only another half month to go until Rosh Hashanah. But that's
2 weeks, Rosh
yes, 2 weeks. Well, a little less than.
Yeah, no, a week and a half.
Yes. Her poem for Elul 21st is entitled Change. And it's a surprising poem, I just want to warn you. But it's called Change. And I said it's surprising because it has the word constant at the very beginning, so change, whatever. The only constant except for your loneliness. You've always needed someone to talk with, to show you your own reflection. It is not good for God to be alone, but you are mercurial. You've changed masks from stern to sweet and back again, all white-haired man above the highest heavens, to the friend I want to hug and never let go. But you're always more than. Sometimes we call you king, sometimes mother, healer, lover. You're whatever we yearn for. I yearn for you. And whatever I think you are, you've already left behind. As we gather all our simchas, we share a prayer. Divine source of blessings, we thank you for everything that enriches our lives. Adonai, be with all of us now and always. May we be blessed with the strength to overcome sickness and sorrow, and with much health and happiness now and always. So we honor each one of you for the gifts that you bring to our sacred community. Together, we join in song to mark this sacred occasion.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שהחיינו וקיימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
As always, every Shabbat, we read a Torah portion that is the most important Torah portion of the Torah. I've said this before, and I will say it again. It's true. And actually, most of you are probably very familiar with what scholars call the Deuteronomistic Creed. You don't know it by that name, by the way. But the words begin this way. Arami oved avi veyered Mitzrayma. My father was a wandering Aramean. He went down to Egypt with meager numbers and sojourned there. And there he became a great and populous nation. The Egyptians dealt harshly with us and oppressed us, and they imposed hard labor upon us. And they cried out to Adonai, our God, and Adonai heard our plea, and so our misery and our oppression, and Adonai freed us from Egypt by a mighty hand and an outstretched hand, an awesome power, and by sign and portents bringing us to this place and giving us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. It's not a test. However, by now you probably know that this sounds very familiar because we recite this every year at the Seder. The recitation of this particular summary of our sacred history is found also in this week's Torah portion, ki tavo, which means when you arrive to the land. In the Haggadah, it really functions as an introduction to the story of the Exodus, to the Magid section. Thank you very much. Starts from the very beginning, Aravi Oved Avi, and then goes on to tell you the whole story. Yet in the book of Dvarim in Deuteronomy, it's less about Passover, actually not at all, more about the mitzvah of bringing the first fruits offerings to the temple in Jerusalem. Indeed, it is a thanksgiving prayer, the only one actually found in the Torah, by which the person who brings the offering to the temple acknowledges that the harvest was a good harvest and it comes from God. I owed Rabbi Andrea London the interpretation that the prayer of the person bringing the first fruits teaches us a sense of gratitude. In Hebrew, the spiritual practice of acknowledging the good in our lives is called hakarat hatov, literally the recognition of the good. Like, ine matov, we have that, tov. Rabbi London explains, quote, reciting the history of our enslaved past and how God brought us out of slavery and into a plentiful land reminds us that our success is not just a result of our bad work, but it's also due to the rich soil we've been given to till. End quote. In ancient times, this prayer would have been uttered before the priest at the temple after the Jew had settled in the land and had time to till the soil and produce a harvest. If the harvest was bountiful, it meant that both the farmer and the soil conditions were pretty good. In our own time, we can apply the need to acknowledge the blessings in our lives to everything we do. One can be the best at doing our job, but without the right conditions or without the right team, success may not materialize. During this month of Elul, we are invited to think about the year that is ending and to consider whether we have been and where we want to go in the future. Of course, we don't want to brush aside our shortcomings because we can all learn from our mistakes. That's something we all say. But we should not look at our successes either and simply feel good about them without feeling a deep sense of gratitude to others and to our circumstances. We live in a society that teaches us to attribute our success mainly to our own efforts and talents. The flip side of that approach is that when we do not achieve success, it must be our fault somehow. That is the American dream. But it is not accurate. It is a myth, the myth of upward mobility. In reality, our lives are not that simple. Not everything depends on our individual efforts. Rabbi London and many others suggest that this myth, quote, fails to take into account that many of us benefit from advantages such as wealth, access to good schools, safe neighborhoods, good health care, powerful social connections, and a myriad of other factors that make success far more attainable, end quote. The more successful we are, the less inclined we are to acknowledge the many factors that are indeed out of our control, but that nonetheless have benefited us all. This week's Torah portion teaches us that at our highest moments, we must acknowledge that our path to success is not a solitary journey. According to the ethical teachings of Musar, and you're going to hear a lot about Musar tomorrow evening during Slichot, according to the teachings of that school of thought, Musar, recognizing the good in our lives can become a spiritual practice. Acknowledging that we are not the center of the universe may help us see how we're all interconnected. However, Hakarat Atov by itself is not gratitude. But if practiced regularly, it should lead us to be and become thankful. Rabbi London teaches, when we acknowledge our blessings and recognize the source of blessing, we become more grateful and develop greater kindness and empathy towards others. End quote. Let me put it in a way that I think we can all understand. Hakarat Hatov is the opposite of kvetching. Now, which reminds me of a story I once heard about a decrepit train slowly moving its way across the Pale of Settlement in the old country where all good stories happened. It was summer, it was hot, dusty, and miserable. No air conditioning, of course. But what made things even worse was an old man in the back moaning, "Oi, I'm so thirsty. I am so thirsty." He repeated over and over. Finally, another passenger, sick of the kvetching, said, "Here, have some of my water. Only please stop moaning." The old man took a big drink, and sure enough, a few minutes later, everything was quiet. Well, but then he moaned again. "Oi, I was so thirsty." Let me put it this way. Some of us can't help it, can it? We cannot see the glass half full ever. Yet, recognizing the good in our lives takes work. It is a choice to dwell on what we lack rather than to practice Hakarat Hatov. Realizing the many blessings we have, especially this past year, I know it's hard, but we still have something that could help us shift our perspective from one of lack to one of abundance. As much as we need to improve who we are as individuals by staying away from the choices that harm us, Elul is also a time to practice Hakarat Hatov. Rabbi London suggests a spiritual practice we can turn to from today until Rosh Hashanah and perhaps beyond. This coming week, perhaps when we wake up in the morning, we can try to take some time to recognize the blessings in our lives. The traditional Jewish morning prayers include a series of blessings called Nisim Bechol Yom, daily miracles. The prayer acknowledges the many blessings we enjoy, opening our eyes, breathing, getting up, getting dressed, and even hearing the rooster go, whatever the roosters do in English. In Spanish, they do kikiriki, but in English, do something else, apparently. That never ceased to amaze me. Yes, kikiriki, that makes more sense to me than kuka, doogle, whatever you say. You have to look it up. I don't know what that is. Gee. Anyways, but yes, we say, Asher natan l'sachvi bina le'avchin ben yon u'ben layla. God gave the rooster the ability to distinguish between day and night. Smart animal. And of course, it could be a dog barking. Anyway, that's too early for me anyhow, but I heard those things happen that early in the morning. I read about it. the traditional blessing really expresses our wonder at the simple, often overlooked wonders of being alive. I invite you to consider creating a morning ritual for yourself during this last week of Elul. You could use some of the traditional blessings, of course, and then bring to mind specific things for which you are grateful and praise the source of blessings. You may choose to use the words of our tradition or create your own list of blessings. Or if it's not you, if you're not really a morning person, you can do it in the evening. As you are about to lay down your head on the pillow, take account of what was good about your day and have those thoughts in your mind, positive thoughts, as you thank God and recite the Shema and then go to sleep. Great way to fall asleep. Practicing Hakarat Tov can be a wonderful way of ending this year, difficult as it may have seemed to some of us, with a list of all good things in our lives. It can also be a wonderful way of setting the mood for the new year, a year when we promise not to overlook the many blessings that fill our life. So Shabbat Shalom, have a wonderful last Shabbat almost of the year, and L'Shana Tova, everybody. As we come back together on our prayer book, on our Siddur, we turn to page 78 for Aleinu L'Shaber. If you're able, please stand and join us. As we prepare for a moment of remembrance, I invite you to turn to page 81. Our mission is to plant ourselves at the gates of hope, not the prudent gates of optimism, which are somewhat narrow. Boring gates of common sense, nor the strident gates of self-righteousness, which creak on shrill and angry hinges. People cannot hear us there, they cannot pass through. Nor the cheerful, flimsy garden gate of everything's gonna be all right, but a different, sometimes lonely place of truth-telling about your own soul, first of all, and its condition, the place of resistance and defiance, from which you see the world both as it is and as it could be, as it will be, the place from which you glimpse not only struggle, but joy in the struggle. And we stand there, beckoning and calling, telling people what we are seeing, asking them what they see. Together, we remember the following members of our congregation, we have heard of the passing of Marcia Eisenberg, mother of Diana Hurst, and Robert G. Shaw, husband of Jean Shaw. And on this Shabbat, we remember the following yortzites of members of our congregation: Blanche Altman, Albert Byler, Elizabeth Blum, Betty Bram, Robert Chase, Robert Zerlinski, John L. Esser III, Raul Falikov, Minion Friedman, Gertrude Kandel, Ray Goldstein, Paula Greenwald, Arden J. Hagen, Bessie Karch, Joni Kirschenbaum, Louis Lowenstein Jr., Sarah Myron, Henry Perlstein, Marshall Pittler, Maurice Patel, Murray Rosen, Leo Schlafstein, George Zucker. Zichronam livracha, may the memories be for a blessing. Together as a congregation, page 86, we rise for Kaddish Yatom. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei rabba, be'alema divra chigute ve'yamlich malchute, be'chayechon uvyamechon, ובחיי דכל בית ישראל, בעגלה ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהא שמי רבה מברך לעלם ולעלמי עלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו, לאלה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, תושבחתה ונחמתה, דא אמירם בעלמה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה, וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. It's time for some announcements. I want to point out before that, if you notice how beautiful our new deck of slides are that Leslie created for us. It's very nuanced about the beautiful period of Elul, things, are passing, and I like it. Thank you, Leslie.
And on the website. Tomorrow morning we have Sichat Shabbat at 9 a.m., which is our Shabbat class. All are welcome to join in person and online. Then at 10:30 we have our Shabbat morning service. Again, all are welcome to join us in person or online. Tomorrow night at just about this time we will be gathering for Slichot, which is the beginning of the High Holy Day season. So this is community-wide. We're very honored to host it here. It will begin at 8 p.m. with a dessert reception, followed by Havdalah, a program based in Musar, like Rabbi Katapan mentioned, and then the Slichot service. All are welcome to join us in person. and it will be live streamed on all of our Beth Torah platforms. So if you'd rather be home too, we're glad to accommodate. It will be a beautiful full evening here. And then on Sunday, like Howard mentioned, we have religious school beginning at 9 a.m. with breakfast, 9:30 family tefillah. Then we have our gift shop liquidation sale at 10 a.m. Everything is 75% off. So join us on Sunday morning. Cash and check are accepted. And then at 2 p.m. we will come together for the funeral of Robert Shaw. So it will be here in person and also live streamed. And that's part of being a member of a synagogue. All of these simchas and also being together during the difficult times. We also have 2 pick-up parties this weekend. So on Saturday, we have the Autumn Patio Soiree, and on Sunday, we have the Powell Gardens Party with Carol. So if you're interested in signing up for either pick-up party, let me know in person or send me an email and we'll make that happen, or just sign up online. And last but not least, the High Holy Days are in 9 days. So Rosh Hashanah is next Sunday for Erev, and then Monday for the day. Here's a look at what's happening on Rosh Hashanah. Erev Rosh Hashanah service on Sunday, September 25th, and then on Monday, September 26th, our schedule will go something like this, or exactly like this. Family experience for ages 8 and under, Rosh Hashanah morning service, luncheon, when we will learn more about the Good Faith Network and the critical work they're doing, and how we can be a part of it, youth group schmooze during the luncheon, and then tashlich, when we cast away our sins. So full schedule. If you have not registered yet, talk to one of us during the Oneg and we'll make that happen. Last but not least, thank you to Joanne Harris, who is in Alaska at the moment, who sponsored Oneg just because. So thank you to Joanne.
Thank you. We conclude our time together on page 92.
Kind of. Don't leave after.
Don't leave afterwards. Right. With Hashkivenu. And stand if you're able. There it is. Hashkivenu Adonai Elecha Don't go away. We're going to have Kiddush and Amotzi in the Ulam. But before that, we're going to hear the shofar as we normally do on the Shabbatot during Elul. Summon the energy to sound the horn, muster the strength to change, move from judgment to compassion, shift from perspective and heal. Be the first to apologize, offer the hand of forgiveness, open your heart to hear the horn. Believe in your power to change. Tekiah, Shevarim Truah, Tekiah, Yashar Koach, Howard, and Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Join us for Kiddush and Amotzi.
Take care of each other out there.